Hey guys, Andre here of Cinemorph.com. Today I can bring you the Whiplash Mark II review of Hot Toys Iron Man 2 line, which they thought they give a bit of a revival with this suit here. Quick shout out to Anthony Sang, who supplied me this figure. It was an amazing transaction again. I mean, it took about 3 days from Hong Kong to Switzerland, and the best thing is it had absolutely no custom charges, which is quite amazing looking at such an expensive piece. And it's also quite a heavy piece. It's over 1 kilo and you really feel the quality and the die cast material. So thanks Anthony Budget Stock. If you want to have a cool comparison video with other suits, please head over to his channel. He will give you some insights and a cool comparison on the weight scales of the different armors, comparing for example plastic figures to die-cast Iron Man suits. So let's continue with the video review on Whiplash. Okay, let's have a quick look at the box. It's the usual style that you get with the die-cast figures, and especially the Iron Man suits of Hot Toys. But what I felt was a bit more prominent here is the 3D effect, the 3D hologram effect. So they have like a upper texturing on the plastic cover, and below there's the actual print of the figure, and it has a very hologram graphic look, I have to say. Inside the box is of course the styrofoam packaging, and as you can see it's the MS237 diecast D06. What I want to point out here is that inside the styrofoam box you actually have a lot of further foam padding, which is for example placed between the elbows or between the leg joints and stuff like that. So that's quite a secure way to handle the die cast to plastic parts, and that they don't scratch to each other. Then of course with this figure it's very important too that you read the manual. There's a lot of stuff going on in this manual, all the instructions for the battery placement, then of course which parts are articulated and how they articulate. So here for example you have some close-ups on the shoulder joint, here the ab part. Then you see already here that you can extend the legs, so that you can extend the angles of degree to turn the legs from 30 to even 90 degrees and stuff like that. So this is really important, and yeah, just have a look at it if you unbox this baby. Alright, here we've got a Whiplash Mark II right out of the box in an upright pose, and the first impression of this armor is just impressive. It has a lot of weight and it's very deep and a lot of stuff going on. But first let's have a look at the Mickey Rourke portrait. It's the second incarnation of Hot Toys of this character. Basically now I think it's a lot better sculpted than the first one. Unfortunately I can't show you a comparison, but I think they really have really a realistic look going on here. As you can see, for example, there's a lot of sweat sprinkling going on the forehead and the cheekbones. It just has a lot of character, I think. But I have to say, in the movie it's not that you could have seen Mickey Rourke that way in the suit. I think he always had the hair free and not inside the helmet. So that would have been a cool touch if they really would have created the final scene look, the totally unmasked look, not inside the helmet piece here. So going down to the accessories, there's not a lot coming with this figure, but what you get is okay, I think. So the first thing you have seen already is the helmet, which you can take off the faceplate here. You've got the battery compartment, here's the switch, and here we've got the light up feature. I will show it to you afterwards on the suit again, but as you can see, nice details. All this weathering seams going on, these darkened areas, so very nice. Of course you can use this faceplate on the actual figure, on the normal portrait with Mickey Rourke, and put it just on top of it. So that's the way you could present him as well. So next accessory is this battle damaged chest plate. It's all plasticky but nicely painted, as you can see. I will show it to you afterwards. Then let's have a quick look at the base, which is totally newly sculpted. As you can see on the underside, it's actually white or a bit yellowish white. I think normally they were black. Here you see some debris and battle damage parts of the hammer drones, some rock structures, some grass going on, and I think this part is from the creek where they're battling on just some wet painted stones. It doesn't look too realistic, I have to say. Well, they at least wanted to do a new sculpt, and maybe it would have turned out a bit better if the paint job would be a bit more realistic. Then another special thing on this figure at least is that you get a different holding piece on the stand, so you don't have the normal crotch grabber piece, because Whiplash has two different skirt pieces on his backside. So this is probably the right way to go, but I think the figure itself stands quite well on its own. Alright, then of course with Whiplash you need two weapons, these whips here. So let's give you a bit of close-up. These whips are made out of a translucent blue turquoise rubber material. They're totally bendy and rubbery, but they're not wired, so you can't do like up-holding action poses. They won't hold in place. So you definitely need something to grab on and to hold on, for example twirling it around an enemy of Whiplash or just another Iron Man figure, whatever. Then of course you get these electric sparks here, which is basically just another rubbery plastic piece. And maybe if we pan down a bit, as you can see here are the details. They're really in this translucent bright blue turquoise color. And then of course they're not really attached to the whips. You have to do it by yourself, just twirl it around, and here are some free spaces where you can just pull the whip through. Then of course you can attach them to the forearm gauntlets. You just slide them there inside. It's quite easy. So that's actually the place where they go. Just slide them in, and that's it. So here a bit more in the big picture with both whips attached. So you just have to play a bit with it and find some cool poses. It's quite easy, and they're really bendable, so you can do a lot of cool stuff, I think. Okay, next up are the light up functions, and I will continue showing you the action on the whips. So first let's dim the lights a bit, that you can see the light up action here. So here's the battery compartment. There's the little switch which will illuminate the beginning of the tubing. Let me show. Here it is. So let me find the spot from the other side. It's not that easy. So here we go. So that's about it, not much more. If I zoom out a bit, let's switch it again. So that's about the effect. If I turn down the other lights, go complete dark, so that's it. So this is really weak, not much going on. It goes max about 1 to 2 centimeters in, and that's about it. And for me that's just too less at such an expensive piece. Yeah, so let's continue with the other light up features. So for the torso you get a back section. There are two plates which are currently not on the figure, and below these two plates here you've got the switches. So here's the first switch, which illuminates my god, what a nightmare, guys. So it's about 12 hours later. I had almost, well, I think only 3 hours of sleep, and I wanted to finish the video review yesterday, but then when I had to cut short the part where I wanted to show the light up features on the chest and the arc reactor and the back thrusters here, something terrible happened. So let's have a look here. So basically, right out of the box you have these covers on these battery compartments. Then below here you see there's a little LED switch. Here's for the left side. So let's try and light it up. So here's the back thruster action, and it also lights up here on the color area. So this switch actually just got loose and it slipped right into the torso. No chance getting it back from the outside. It was really hidden inside the battery compartment, and then I tried to figure out how to get to this area, and yeah, that's what I came up with. I had to take off all the limbs, so you just can take out these leg pieces, which is the most heavy part of the figure actually. So a lot of die cast going on these legs, but they're just connected with a ball joint, so that's no problem. Then also the arms are more or less detachable by this ball joint ankle here. As you can see, they have like a spring mechanism. So yeah, then the whole nightmare continued. I had to open the torso and there was no visible opening. I mean, there were no screws or anything. It's all closed and enclosured. So what I then found out is that is below the batteries. So below these little 3 batteries here, there is a screw. You can unscrew these 2 parts below the cover, and then the whole torso can be split in 2 pieces. So you can basically slide then the backside up, and I will show you some pictures in picture-in-picture mode where you will see the cables thing going on. So I had then a chance to recable or rewire the different cables going for the LED switch here, and while doing this, the other switch here also came down. So Hot Toys does really use very weak hot glue to attach these LED switches, so please be very careful. Here, as you can see, I had some mechanical damage while opening this battery compartment. It was just stuck in place, so that's also another thing that happened to me. Then let's try and now switch the arc reactor on the front on. So here we go, it's all working again. I'm quite happy that I could fix it in the end, but it was a pain in the ass, man. It took me about 6 hours just for finding a way and rewiring the whole stuff. I had to take my soldering kit and put it all together again, and it was just a nightmare, a real nightmare. And I really would have loved to praise this figure into heaven, but right now it's just no chance. I mean, the quality of these LED switches was so worse, I can't imagine. I mean, it's just terrible, just terrible. So let's take this opportunity. If I disassembled the whole figure to just give you some close-ups of the inner workings. So here we have the huge die-cast leg, and this is really magnificently done. I mean, there's a lot of stuff going on. As you can see, you have a ratchet joint with a piston going on. Then you can flap down these armor plates on the foot, which is amazingly well done. And I think this is plastic, but a lot here is really die cast. So this is die cast, this is die cast. Quite nice, quite nice. Also in the feet ankle we have a bit of articulation, as you can see. Then let's have a closer look at the arm. So the arms are not all die cast. I think here this part is die cast, but in general it's a lot of plastic here. You've got a new hand sculpt, a bit more thin fingers I think compared to some Iron Man releases, but they work exactly the same, so they're extremely good if you want to pose them with the whips. Then another fragile part are these whips here. So Anthony also pointed out in his first video. So basically you've got a lot of pressure going on these whips here if you have it like this in this pose. So let's have here a close-up. Here you see the inner workings. If I slide up the arm, the whip goes back. It's quite a neat idea, but I fear there will be also some quality control problems if there will be some wear and tear in this area here. So that's a bit unfortunate if you want to keep it a long time in the same pose with bended arms. Also here, as you can see, there are some pistons. So all in all, a lot of detail. Alright, so for putting back on the legs, I want to show you these ball joints just shortly. Here you can see it's in the normal position, but you can pull them downwards and they're like with a ratchet joint. So you have like an extended leg feature, and putting them back on needs a bit of force. But when done, as you can see, they snug in and you've got a lot of range of motion when doing this. So here you can push it up and you can push it down. And the clue is that you have about 30 degrees angle having him like this. That's about it. And if you push it down, you've got even 90 degrees angle to rotate the legs. So that's really, really nice. Alright, back in one piece again, and I'm really relieved that I could manage to fix this up, because I mean it's like a $400 US piece. This bugs me of course a bit, but as you can see, you now have these cover pieces. I think this is for the left side, and you just can plug it in and it will cover these areas quite nice. So here the second one closed. Now if we go back to the arms, as you can see, if you want to rotate the arms a bit more, you just have to lift up these sections here, and then you've got a lot of range of motion. So this is really cool. And if you have this down, it will begin to tear and to rub against the armor. So always keep those flaps up. If you go to the front, as you can see, I have now dark reactor on, and this is the uncovered chest area, which is amazingly detailed, but it's all plastic. So on the torso it's actually a very light piece. There is not a lot of die cast going on. And here's the battle damaged torso plate, which is magnetic and just fits on perfectly. So like this. Quite a cool piece actually. Alright, here we go, final look at Whiplash. As you can see in an action pose holding one whip. Look at this bulkiness, it's amazing. The skirt pieces are actually plastic and they're quite sharp, so if you have to disassemble this figure, they really get into your way. And then of course, just before we close this video review, here a quick comparison shot with Hot Toys Mark VI, and in comparison these plastic Iron Man figures are just a bit very fragile in comparison to a die-cast piece. A lot of the ankles on this Mark VI are already gotten very loose. So, but here you got a bit of an impression how big Whiplash actually is. So in terms of height, it's about 1 inch, maybe a bit more if I have the legs straight. But in terms of the bulkiness, it's quite a big heavyweight compared to the Mark VI. So I hope you enjoyed this video review. Please be careful with the LED switches. Please be careful with all the other fragile parts, like the area on the elbows with the whips. It's just a lot of different stuff you have to pay attention to. So please read also the manual, of course. And yeah, other than that, quite a nice figure. And if there weren't these quality control issues, I would definitely have to say that this piece is worth the $400 that it's going for. So thanks for watching, guys. Until next time, and bye bye.